This is going to be a yapping breakdown, but I'll try not to go too off topic. Every time I watched The Legend of Korra, I felt like something was missing. And when I was younger, I could not explain this. I couldn't put it into words. But now that I'm older, I clearly see the problem. And it's all in how the Avatar journey and the elements is handled. Because how the journey of being an Avatar is handled affects the characters that surround the Avatar. And I'm going to get into that. So we start off with Korra, who already has mastered three out of the four elements. And this is like the base of the problem, and it pretty much sets up like so many other problems further on. Three out of four elements she's already mastered. What the fuck? And I get it. Every avatar they have their native element that they're good at. I get some avatars are prodigy, but you have to remember every avatar has their native element, an element they're good at, an element they suck at, and an element that they're just not familiar with. Korra says, fuck this. Three of the four elements, I already got that down. And the fourth element, spend a bunch of time trying to get that. To me, it sounds lazy. It sounds inconsistent with what we've seen in the past with the other avatars, even with the avatars who were prodigies. It doesn't sound realistic within the verse. But this isn't even just about being realistic or about her being Mary Sue or anything like that. This is just about how it affects the rest of the story. What this does for me is it cuts out so many parts of the journey. For example, within uh, The Last Airbender that we had, where they were traveling to the North Pole to find the master. They were trying to find Aang, a waterbending master. Paku was being a bitch about it. They couldn't find him, so then they found Katara, and then they traveled to the Earth Nation, and they couldn't find Boomy. Where the fuck is Boomy? They find Boomy, but eventually says, "Nah, you're good. I gotta handle stuff." And then they find who do they find? They find Toph, and then they travel to the Fire Nation. They try to find Zhong, and Zhong is acting like a whole bitch like half the show, but we find out he's going through things, all of that stuff, and then what happens? Their enemy, who has been chasing them, offers himself up as his second-hand firebending master. In the process of all of this is
Myself. I'm
amazing
Prince Wu,
world
future
building
king.
as
Yeah,
they're trying to
I'm
find
aware of who
Aang,
you are.
uh,
Don't let my
uh,
reputation
good
intimidate you.
masters.
I'm still human
As they're
just
trying to
like
find Aang,
everyone else.
a
Only more
master
human.
that
Like
will
extra human
not
or
like fucking
superhuman.
tear his limbs apart,
Superhuman.
but is
So what do you
also still
say? Can I
strong
show
enough
you a
to actually
low-key
teach
night
him
out with a
something.
superhuman soon to...
So what happens here is the whole story is being built up through this journey of finding the right fit for Aang. And that was what was so special about the show that I found missing in Legend of Korra. And it doesn't have to be the same. She could be good at some elements. She doesn't have to be running around the world to find it. Technology is advanced in Legend of Korra. Make the LinkedIn posts. We're looking for air bending, water bending, earth bending masters. And this isn't a remote role, this is an on site position. In fact, you're going to be following this chick around for a while, so pack your bags. I could do a tournament for her finding masters. I couldn't care less. I just felt like her mastering all of these elements, and not just mastering these elements, but doing it off screen, like she's fucking Blackbeard or something, takes away from the story. We don't see her mastering three of the four elements. In fact, I think we only see one clip of her training in the past, and that's like absurd. I thought this was supposed to be the legend of Korra. Where did the legend start off at? If I made a show called The Legend of Michael Jackson or The Legend of Michael Jordan, and I only show one clip of Michael Jackson like moonwalking as a kid, I show like one clip of Michael Jordan dunking at like 13 years old, and then every other clip I make on them is where they're billionaires who are renowned worldwide, and that wouldn't be much of a legendary story, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a legendary story because I don't even see where these legends started off at. I'm not seeing this with Korra. I'm not seeing where she started off at. I don't mean location wise, I mean bending wise. And they may as well scrap out the intro. She's supposed to master all the four elements. Oh, really? Where? This is like a false advertisement. Imagine you go to a seminar, 4 points on how to build $1 billion business. You go to the seminar, they only tell you 1 point on how they built the $1 billion business. This is what Forex trading is, right? They say they're going to give you all of these things, they only give you one portion of it on how this ended up this way. How did she end up this way? Well, we don't know because her journey covers 3/4 of the way done. This is like 1/4 Avatar, to be honest. To me, that's what it felt like. That's what I felt like. But I could never vocally say that because I couldn't understand, like, why do I feel like something isn't right when I'm watching the show? Why do I feel like I'm just missing out on a whole bunch of something else that just isn't put in? And Legend of Korra ignored a lot of things continuing on from The Last Airbender. They were very vague with one of the main cast characters, Sokka. We don't really know much what happened to him other than that he passed before his sister. We don't know what happened to Suki. We don't know what happened to Ty Lee. We don't know what happened to Azula. The comics, we got a little bit of stuff on them, but not that much. We don't know what happened to like 20 characters, and Korra was extremely vague with those characters. And the response has always been, "Well, this is about Legend of Korra. Well, these people are in the same verse, and these people are connected." But then it's not just the vagueness with what happened from the past; it's the vagueness of what's happening right now. So it's not just about not getting these characters; we're not even getting Korra's full story. So there's definitely a common theme of Korra just jumping from things to things, from mushroom to mushroom, from leaf to leaf, from tree to tree without even thinking. Maybe I should semi-complete the story just a little bit. Maybe I should touch on this point just a little bit. Maybe I should find out who the parent of this person is just a little bit. Maybe I should show the Avatar mastering the elements just a little bit. I mean, it's not like that's the point of the show and the journey that comes with being the Avatar and that makes it relatable to the fans that watch it or anything. The whole process of mastering the elements with Aang is what made it so funny, what made it so relatable, what made it so cool. What made the story. Watching him pick up water easily, but struggle with earth and be afraid of fire, and it's like you can literally see the character, the type of character, the type of person the character is just by off of how they interact with the element. And we simply don't get this with Korra. We miss out on Korra. It kind of makes it unrelatable compared to Aang. And I've seen plenty critiques on Legend of Korra, ranging from the problem of the spirits and how the Avatar line was treated, all the way to the Mary Sue allegations, all the way down to the gender and sexuality critiques. I've seen other critiques from A to Z. My main critique is what happened in the story, and is it enough? It isn't. Now we're getting into the portion that I was talking about where how the mastery of the elements impacts the rest of the team dynamic and how Team Avatar functions. We have to remember the Team Avatar it's not just a cool name Sokka came up with, it's a literal canon term that the Avatar world uses to describe a consistent team or group of people that surrounds and helps train the Avatar and helps them in their elemental, spiritual, and personal journey. And we see this within the past Avatars. We see um, Juan I think he was trained by the Lion Turtles, and Kyoshi, she had the Kelsang, the big buff fucking airbender dude, and Kurt probably had some other people, but it wasn't touched on. But the point is, they all had their own team, and the team helped with all the three facets of the Avatar life. Problem is, Korra doesn't have a team Avatar, not an effective one. It shouldn't even be called a team Avatar. It's a disrespect to the past ones, to be honest. So the fact that the Avatar team is made up with more people that can't help than can help with the Avatar journey is crazy to me. Like, what is Mako doing? He's fucking the Avatar. Okay, what is Bolin doing? What is Asami doing? We don't know. Well, we do know nothing. And it's crazy to think that her polar bear Nala is literally more useful than the main sidecasts when it came to her journey. And that's pretty much most of what I had to say when it comes to Korra and her friends. I won't even call them a team. They should really rename the show Korra and Friends because this is not Team Avatar. This is a disgrace to the past Team Avatars. I guess the question I want to end it off with is, did you enjoy the team dynamic in Legend of Korra, and how do you think it could have been improved?